Start the recording or?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the 2025-2026 Admitted Students Advising Session. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We are excited to have you here, and we are hoping that we'll be able to see you soon in person for a lot of activities in the end of August. The purpose of this advising session is simply to get you started on your planning for basically coming to Rutgers. There are many different facets of you. Some of you are international students, some of you are local to the US, but not within Rutgers. Some of you are transferring from Rutgers undergraduate. So this is not going to be a comprehensive presentation initially, but then after this presentation, what we'll do is we will have basically one-on-one advising where we can take unique questions. So let me get started by first introducing. My name is Wahid Bajwa. I'm the Graduate Program Director in the ECE department. And with me is...
Hi, my name's Katie Yu. I'm the ECE Graduate Program Coordinator here. A lot of you have interacted with me throughout your admissions process, and I'll also be working with you on your onboarding and advising as you're here.
So the way the structure works is you are all within Rutgers, New Brunswick, and within Rutgers, New Brunswick, you are admitted into the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. And within that department, we have the graduate program, which is run by the graduate program director and the graduate program coordinator. So the two of us are your first point of contact within the department. Depending upon how you will be, whether you are on visa here or you are national, you will be interacting with other entities. We'll cover some of those things within our orientation in August, but here we are interested in only answering a few major questions. So let's move to the next slide. Okay. So here the idea is that we can help you identify what is the curriculum for your program, introduce you to the ECE Graduate Student Handbook if you are not familiar with that, if you haven't had a chance to look at it. Whether you are a PhD student or a master's student or a certificate program student, you have a different curriculum, and then the requirements if you are a master's, if you are interested in doing master's with thesis, without thesis, the requirements are going to be different. So our goal is to introduce you briefly to that so you are aware of that. And then you can identify which courses you are being offered each semester. So for example, fall 2025 schedule is already out. Katie will introduce you to the system that helps you figure out which courses are being offered and you can register for them. There is a mechanism for certain courses, which Katie will introduce you to. It is called special permission numbers. And to register for them, especially if you are a PhD student, you might be interested in registering in some special courses outside Rutgers. We can help you get SPNs for courses within our department. Outside the department, you would have to take those on your own, but we can point you to those. And then we'll conclude with basically Q&A sessions. We have received some questions already from some of you. We'll also take some collective questions. And once there are no more collective questions, I will be happy to basically open a breakout room and advise you individually on your own questions. Okay, so let's move to the next slide.
Additionally, if you have questions as we go, you can put them in the chat and we'll try to address them as we go as we're on topic, or not, we'll answer them at the end.
Yeah. So the most important document that you need to refer to as you plan your courses is the graduate handbook. So let me actually take it from you, Katie, and or you are going to open that? Yeah, you can open that. Okay, so right now, this graduate handbook, you can find it on our graduate academics. If you go to ec.rutgers.edu and you click on academics, within that you will find graduate academics. That's where you will find, in fact, if we can actually show that explicitly, Katie, if that is okay, that would be more useful. Yeah, so if you go to academics and you click on graduate academics, you get on this page. This page has a lot of information that you want, but the most important one is the graduate student handbook. So if you click there, you will find a collection of handbooks because every year the handbook is updated with the requirements for that year. And right now, you have access to the 2024 Graduate Student Handbook. We will have the 2025 Graduate Student Handbook opening up soon. But if you go to this handbook, you will see a lot of information in there. You don't need to worry about section 1 and 2. You can read it. But basically, if you are a master student, section 3 is something that you want to spend a lot of time reading through. And then section 4 is if you are a PhD student. If you are a certificate student, you want to read section 5. Okay. If you have interest in transfer of credits, we'll talk about that during our orientation. So right now, the key thing is that when you go through section 3, 4, or 5, it lists how many courses you need to take. So let me just briefly break down. For master's student, you need to take a total of 30 credits, and you need to take, in addition to that, you need to take 2 semesters of colloquium, which is a special course called 16332-699. This course is offered every semester, and you need to take 2 of these. This is a more seminar style course, which is meant to help you get introduced to some of the latest topics in different areas and also increase your awareness of what is happening in related areas, not just in your specialization. If you are a PhD student, then you need to take a total of 72 credits, which is divided into coursework and research credits. So for coursework, you take at least 36 credits. You can have up to 48 credits in coursework, but at least 36. And you need 4 semesters of colloquium, okay? If you are a certificate student, you do not need to register in colloquium courses. So when we will talk about later how you want to register for courses, this 699 is one course that we recommend everyone takes in their first semester, especially if you are a master student. Okay. In addition, you want to figure out which other courses you want to take. And for that, if you are a master student, we can go back to the handbook. If you are a master student, you will go to Appendix B, and we have the 7 specializations listed in Appendix B. If you have a cross-cutting specialization, then you would have to talk to the graduate director to come up with that. But if you go to any one of these specializations, let's say you are doing machine learning, the way it is structured is that 30 credits, so just as a sense, 30 credits means 10 courses, because within ECE, our courses are 3 credits each. So you have 10 courses, and we want you to take 7 of those 10 courses within our department. You can take the remaining 3 outside the department. This is called residency requirement. You need to take 7 of the courses within ECE. Within those 7 courses, it says that you have to take 6 of those courses from these 2 lists. Okay, you have to take 3 from the core list and 3 from the restrictive elective list. So effectively, out of 10, we are asking you to take 6 from these 2 lists. The remaining 4 can be any other courses, including from these lists. You can you can have more than 6 from these lists, and a total of 7 must be from ECE. Now, this is for the case of if you are doing masters without thesis. If you are doing masters with thesis, then the way it works is that you have to take 30 credits, but only take basically 8 courses, and 6 credits come from your thesis. So within those 8 courses, the same rules do apply, that you have to take 6 of those within from these 2 lists. So you can go into this handbook and figure out what you need to do. Now, remember, these are in addition to the colloquium. You have to take 2 semesters of colloquium course, which is 0 credits. So it doesn't count towards your credit limit. Okay. If you are a PhD student, we can go to the PhD student list. You need 72 credits, but you have a lot more of leeway into what kind of courses you want to take. The only thing we require, so the minimum number of courses you need as a PhD student is 12, 36 credits. Within those 12, we only ask you to take 5 from these lists, and the rest of the 7 can be from any list or from any other courses. We don't ask you to which department you take them from. Let's assume you were doing communications as your specialization as a PhD student. We ask that you take 4 courses from the core course list with a GPA of at least 3.75 and 1 course from the math elective list. So that's how it is structured in terms of your requirements. We can go to the cybersecurity, to the certificate programs, which list the requirements for our certificates, and if that is Appendix D, and there we are telling you how do you want to structure your coursework. For example, for certificate program in cybersecurity and machine learning, we have 2 lists, A and B. We want you to take a minimum of 2 from A and a maximum of 2 for B, and then you can finish your coursework. Okay. So that is the course requirement that you want to take, and our goal is that you can start registering for these courses right now because the registration is open. There are going to be other cases of how do you basically go through a lot of other logistical things. We'll talk about that when you are here. A formal orientation will take place in August, where we'll cover a lot of other details. This is to make sure you are getting ready for your coursework, and how you can register for that. You should be able to basically sign up for courses that are open by looking at these. I also want to make sure you understand that you are not tied to the courses you sign up now. You have up to 10 days when you start your program. You have up to 10 days to, for example, drop the course you are taking, or you can add a new course. So you are not locked into this if you register for these courses. But starting now will give you an opportunity to basically start thinking about which courses you want to take. And especially if you are an international student, when you come in, or if you are, for example, applying for visa, people or immigration people want to see that you are registered for courses. So that is important if you are international. If you are domestic, you are not on a visa status, we still want that you register for an initial set of courses, because the thing is that if a course has very low enrollment, we may then end up canceling that because we realize that, oh, no one wants to take that course. Okay. So this is the extent of how you want to approach your courses, how you want to learn about that. And next, I will basically hand it over to Katie so that she can show you how do you want to actually sign up for how do you want to see what courses are available, how do you want to sign up for the courses, if a course has any restriction, how you may want to ask SPMs. So over to you, Katie.
Yes, so just so you know, we're going to be sending out the slides, including this video. So if you don't catch all this on the first pass, that is okay. That's designed for you to follow along as you register. But the first thing that you need to do before you can register for courses is make sure you've officially accepted your admissions decision, activated your net ID, and completed your health and immunization requirements with Rutgers Health. Unfortunately, if you don't do those things first, there's nothing that we as the department can do to bypass that. So that is an important step in the process. Oh, I'm trying to mute. Okay. Um, So the next step is to build your schedule. So first you'll go to this link, and as I said, we'll send it out. And essentially this is the link to the office of the registrar, and there's a link to the course registration. Um, and if you go to the office of the registrar page for New Brunswick, this second link down under services is what is called a link to WebReg, which stands for website registration, which is how you'll always register for classes. So you'll select that, and that will lead you to the WebReg system where you'll log in with your Rutgers credentials, which is why it's important to have a net ID. So once you're in the WebReg system, the first step is to choose the semester that you're registering for, and you'll be registering for fall 2025. And then you'll need to select your location and your level. All of you are in the graduate program, so between the choices of undergrad and graduate, you'll select graduate. Um, Location, you can see that there are a lot of different locations where courses are offered here, and this could be quite confusing. When you're new to Rutgers, you have been accepted to a program at Rutgers, New Brunswick, which is this first choice. And all of the classes within ECE are specifically on the Bush campus of Rutgers, New Brunswick, but you don't need to select for that. You'll just be in the New Brunswick program. From there, you'll need to search for subject, um, and we're in electrical and computer engineering. So if you start typing in electrical, ELE, this will come up as the only choice, so you'll select that. Our program code is 332. So any course that is within electrical and computer engineering will have 332 as the second set of numbers, and all the graduate courses will have 16 as the first set of numbers. So the courses you want to be registering for are 16, 332, and then the course number afterwards. And then this long list of courses will populate, and these are all of the options for courses. that are offered in the fall 2025 semester. So once you click on the little drop-down arrow next to the course, it'll give you more information, including when and where the course is meeting and who is teaching the course. Um, Something to keep in mind is that if a course is offered in the fall semester, with the exception of colloquium, it will not be offered in the spring semester. We only offer courses once a year. So if you see something that you're interested in now and is, especially if it's a requirement for your specialization, I would recommend registering for it. And so from there, you'll click this register button to officially work towards registering for the course. It'll populate the course number in this box to the left, and you are not officially registered for the course until this prefix is added, and then you click Add Course. People frequently forget that step. And once it is, this doesn't want to. Once it is officially added, you'll see it on your registered courses in this list. So sometimes there are courses from another department that you want to register for. Um, if you're a PhD student, like your math course for your qualifying exam, or some students want to register for courses in math or CS or physics, all of those will require a special permission number, which is basically that department giving you permission to register for your course. And those courses, those special permission numbers, you need to get them specifically from that department. So we don't have special permission numbers for courses outside of our department. If you run into an issue, which I don't think you should run into this semester based on how everything is set up, that you need a special permission number to register for one of our courses, that would come from me. So you can reach out to me via email for that. So this is an example of how to search for and register for um, a course in a different department. So for instance, you would type in computer science into the search bar on the left, click register. Once you put in the prefix and add the course, the box will pop up for the special permission number. You'll type in the 6-digit number that they give you and click submit. And then you'll be registered for the course. And like Professor Bajwa was saying, the drop add deadline is about 10 days into the semester. So you have from now until that time to register for and change your registration for courses. One other thing I wanted to make sure you're aware of is on our website, um, undergraduate courses and descriptions. For instance, if you want to know what is going to be covered in systems analysis, we do have the course description here along with a recent syllabus. All the syllabuses that are listed here are subject to change because each professor teaches differently each semester. But this will give you an idea of the content that will be covered. I did see a couple of questions in the chat. Um, so one that has to do with course registration is how many courses is it common for students to register in the first semester? A full-time student in the graduate program is 9 credits. So we suggest registering for 9 credits. Some students register for 12 credits, which is an awful lot. We do not under any circumstance, recommend registering for 15. Um, People that have taken courses at Rutgers as an undergrad, 15 is pretty common, but that isn't something that we recommend doing as a graduate student.
Let me add here.
Mhm.
So, yeah, as was mentioned, it is extremely important that you realize that three courses. So if you are on a visa, by the way, you do need three courses or 9 credits. If you are TAGA, you can make those 9 credits by combining TAGA credits with other courses. But three courses is pretty common. We highly recommend, especially if this is your first semester into the US, we recommend that you do not take more than three courses. And 4 courses is only for people who really, really know what they are doing. 5, absolutely not. You shouldn't. But now, if you are a PhD student, you should really talk to your advisor to figure out how do you want to split up your courses with your research credits. So some advisors even say in the first semester that take only 2 courses and then register for 3 credits of research or something else. So if you are a PhD student, please do talk to your advisor about the courses you should be taking. Okay, back to you, Katie.
So we already covered this in the video, but if you need a special permission number from another department, you reach out to them directly. Additionally, this is a link to the schedule of courses, which is essentially a way to look at which courses are being offered without needing to formally log in through WebReg. So if you are still completing some of those onboarding steps to the university, you can look at that here. So we just have that link for you for the future. Um, Additionally, there are a couple people here who are TAs and GAs. Um, so if you are a GA, you will need to register for this course, which 16332-866, which is a 6 credit placeholder course as a GA, just so you make sure that you set aside the proper amount of time in your schedule for your GA duties. Additionally, the same thing is true if you're a TA registering for 16332-877 for every semester that you are a TA. If you are not a GA or a TA for a course and you accidentally register for these, you will be deregistered, and registering for these does not make you a GA or a TA. So please only register for this if it applies to you based on your current appointment, and GAs and TAs have already been notified of these appointments. So next we're going to open it up to general questions. I think we should start with the ones in the chat, and then go to what was submitted ahead of time, and then we'll open it up if people want to unmute or put more questions in the chat. So the first question is it possible to transfer courses from universities outside the US towards a PhD, or I'll answer for a master's program as well? Yes, it is. Every course that is transferred, you'll need a syllabus in English for, and that will be evaluated by the graduate director to see if it transfers into this program. They do need to be graduate level courses that are ECE or in fields related to ECE. You do need to wait till you have 9 credits completed at Rutgers to transfer your courses, which is usually after your first semester, which is why we're not talking about transfer in detail now, but we will at orientation. The orientation date is still being finalized. It will be for master's certificate program students and BSMS students. It will most likely be during the first week of class. For PhD students who have a separate orientation because the requirements are different, a poll should go out by the end of the week to see when is best for you to complete orientation during that first week of class as well. Um, what is the deadline to accept admission into the ECE graduate program? So there is no official formal deadline. But if you are an international student and are requiring a visa, we suggested accepting by May 1st, because we know that that gives you as much time as possible in order to go through the visa process. I was also recently told by graduate admissions that we can extend that deadline to June 1st. So I would highly recommend accepting or making a decision by June 1st. If there is extenuating circumstances that you need to go past that deadline, you can make a decision past that deadline, but I recommend reaching out to us just so we can advise you accordingly. So someone received their COA but have not received their I-20 to apply for a visa. If you could reach out to me via email, that would be helpful, and I can get you connected with the right people. Just so everyone knows, in general, our department does not do the visa process with students, but we work with admissions on that, so I can get you connected with admissions. And there was also another question about the timing of I-20s and tips on visa interviews. That would also be questions for the admissions department. We in general cannot advise on most things visa related. That is not our expertise, and we don't want to guide you the wrong way. But there is a whole department at Rutgers for that, Rutgers Global and graduate admissions, and they're the experts on that, and they could help you accordingly. Okay, so there's a question, is it possible to change concentrations based on the courses that we choose? So the answer is yes. So you all applied with a specific concentration and were accepted into the program based on that concentration. But when you arrive on campus, you'll come and check in with me. And one of the questions at check-in will be, what is your concentration? And you can change that based when you check in compared to what you applied for. And then at any point during your time here as a student, you can change your concentration as your interests change or you find interest in different courses. You just need to make sure you fulfill the requirements for one of the concentrations by the time that you graduate.
And let me add here that
Mhm.
uh, it is your responsibility to keep track of whether you are covering the courses needed for a particular concentration. So there is no system that does that, and you would have to basically manage things on your own. And eventually, if you decide, oh, I satisfy requirements for concentration A versus B, and you want to change that, that is fine. But you would have to make sure that you satisfy those requirements.
Mhm. The next question is there a list of general elective courses similar to restricted electives and core courses? The short answer is no. Essentially, a general elective course can be any of the core courses or restricted elective courses or courses that relate to EC or your specialization in one way. So we intentionally keep it relatively broad so people can explore. So there is no set list, but if you ever have a question, if something qualifies as a general elective course, you can definitely reach out to us and we can guide you accordingly. This looks like an existing Rutgers BSMS student. Is there a deadline for when we have to transfer courses to to be declared as unused on Degree Navigator? Um, so we recommend that you have your Degree Navigator finalized um, no more than 3 semesters after you graduate with your undergrad degree because your Degree Navigator will um, disappear from your Rutgers system once you're not an undergrad student for enough time. So 3 semesters would be like the final deadline, but we would suggest doing your transfer of credits when after you complete 9 credits as a graduate student, just to make sure you have it done and have it out of the way. And then the final question I received in chat is there a finalized date for submitting immunization requirements? And I honestly do not know the answer to that question. I don't have access to the immunization portal. I assume that it is listed on there. So I would suggest looking in your portal. I know that they do have an email address there for questions, and I think you can message them directly in the portal. So I would suggest doing that. And if none of those three give you the answer to your question, reach out to me via email and I will try to help you answer that. Okay. So let's go to the questions pre-submitted on Zoom. Do you have those pulled up or do you want me to
Yeah,
read
yeah.
them?
So let's start with the ones that pertain to me.
Hmm.
So the first question we have is, does the university offer any sport classes or additional resources for students who need to strengthen their background in certain topics for advanced courses? So the the sport is only that, we have other courses that are available, which are prerequisites for more advanced courses. And if you are not familiar with that, then you should take those prerequisite courses. You are allowed to take even undergraduate level courses. They won't count towards your degree requirements. So you can strengthen your background by taking undergraduate courses. Another mechanism that students take advantage of is what is called special problems. They can study something in an independent study style with a faculty if the faculty agrees to do that. And then that is called special problems course. It is 601 and 602 code. So that is another way that you can design something that you can learn on your own. But in general, when you register for a course, the expectation is you have the background knowledge that you can take that course. If not, you should first do some remedial courses. Okay. This is related. The second question is related to the similar theme of, in general elective, what criteria can we use to decide that? For example, would some philosophy course work? So general elective courses have to be related to ECE. So courses like in history or in, for example, music or drama, these kinds of courses are not going to be acceptable. If you believe that there is a course that actually is tied to your concentration area, and you want to discuss that, you can always petition it. You can come to graduate director's office hours and you say, here is a course that I believe uh, aligns with what I want to do. So if there is a philosophy course that you really believe that somehow is very aligned, you would have to make a case. But in general, the answer to courses in humanities departments in particular is a no. It has to be ECE, and one way to figure out whether it's ECE is it has to be within a STEM kind of a topic. Yeah. So the remaining set of questions, I believe, are more for Miss Katie Yu. So, Katie.
Yes. So the first question is, when can I start to register for courses? Registration is open now. And like I said, you'll just need to make sure you do the onboarding steps to the university first, before the system will let you register. The next is, are master students eligible for TAs or GAs? Chances of getting an assistantship, and if so, what semesters can we apply? So master students are eligible to be a TA or a GA. However, all assistantships in our department are associated with faculty research positions. So this means that a specific faculty member has a TA or a GA funding available, and they are choosing students to be hired into those TA and GA positions. So, if you're interested in research and have made a connection with a faculty member and want to work in their lab, I encourage you to reach out to them and see if they have funding available. It is extremely, extremely competitive, but that doesn't mean that you can't ask. Um, you can apply or you can start asking from your first semester, but it's more likely that a student would form a relationship with a faculty member, mostly through taking their class and attending office hours and getting to know them. Um, so if that's something that's important to you, I would encourage you to do that during your first semester here. Someone had a question about the final exam period. It is the 16th through, I believe, the 23rd of December. And then winter break starts for us after that. Technically, Rutgers has a winter session, but our department does not use the winter session. So the time between the end of the fall semester exams and this beginning of the spring semester, which starts in mid-January, that is our winter break period. So there will be no classes during that period for ECE. And the final question was about TA training. Um, all TAs are required to do a new TA training and a ECE TA orientation. Both of those will be the week before the semester starts. Um, Even if you're an international student, even if you have degrees from the United States, you will need to take an English test to make sure that you are proficient in the language to TA. I believe there's a couple more questions in the chat. Um, Sashtriya, you have a private message into me about I-20. If you could email me, um, that would be helpful, and I can direct you to the right direction via email because this is pretty specific. Um, it's a question about if special problems counts towards ECE grad residence requirements for masters without thesis. I believe it, correct me if I'm wrong, Wahid, but I believe it does not count towards the residency requirements. But
No, no, sorry.
oh, it does.
The 601 and 602, they are
Yeah.
courses.
Okay.
So that does count towards the
Okay.
residency requirement. Yeah.
Okay. It's
So
the 701, 702 that doesn't.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
if
my
yeah,
mistake.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
So
are sorry, Vicky.
So if you're not doing a master's without thesis, special problems, which is 601 and 602, does count towards the residency requirement. If you don't do a thesis and you take research credits, they do not. That's what Wahid and I were debating.
Yeah.
Um, So the first day of the fall semester is Tuesday, September 2nd. Um, just so you are all aware, Monday, September 1st is a national holiday here in the United States, so the university is closed. Um, so we would recommend that you would arrive on campus the week before classes start, which is the week of August 25th. Okay. There's a question about, can the same course be used for the master's program and the certificate program? Um, yes, it can be. And we they frequently are. Just a note if you're a BSMS student that for the certificate program, you do need to have the graduate section of the course if the course is cross-listed for the certificate program, but you can transfer in the undergraduate section of the course for the master's. Um, and the final question is, can we share the recording of the session? Yes. Hopefully by the end of the week, the recording will go out along with the slides and some resources that we talked about today via email. And there's another question about TA things, but I'll email all the new TAs in the coming week or so, just with more information, because that's pretty specialized.
Yeah, but just for those who are TAs, and GAs also, but especially TAs, just understand that when you signed on your contract, you listed a date. So you need to make sure that you are on campus before that date.
Yeah.
But the rest of the details will follow later.
Yeah. And the date on all those contracts was August 25th. So, yes. Any more questions to either put in the chat or unmute your mic and ask that are general questions that you think would be helpful for the group?